Welcome to Future Peak. Some of us are a little worried about the future. Others of us are very calm about it. So, let's cover the spectrum, shall we? This week, we went to MacWorld and the Consumer Electronics Show. We have a few of our media cabal over here today to talk about the MacWorld in particular and to spiral out from there. So over to my left is Shimmering Wolf, a graphic artist designer from beyond the beyond. He has a way of blowing up machines, which we will discuss shortly. Next to him is Galen, Brandt, cyber artist extraordinaire. I first ran into her at the early 90s, where we were working on the Grand Scientific Musical Theater as part of Comdex in the early days of virtual reality. Now she's here in Boulder Creek, married to Bruce Damer of Digital Space Corporation and working with NASA on robotic vehicles. So let's begin. MacWorld this year, you guys. How did it stack up?
It was interesting to see 25% of the exhibitors like garment bags and accessories and stuff, and that's where it's really going. And interesting to see the Mac finally catching up to PCs speed-wise, and Steve Jobs taking all credit, saying Intel processors have been boring and they've been only in PCs all these years, and now they're going to come to life in Macs.
So do you think this spells the end of the Mac now that it's on the Intel chip?
Oh, no. The Mac is powering into the future.
It's become a meme, if you will. Right?
It's become a meme. It's just switched to the standard platform that everybody else uses. They were running a lab where they had OS X and on Intel and on PowerPC, and they were comparing them. And there was a certain cutoff point where the PowerPC just fell behind and never caught up.
How should Mac users feel? I mean, most Mac users love their Macs.
I don't know. I think one would have to question the ethics of a CEO that made all these public claims that he knew was wrong in his own testing.
The future is convergence, and what Steve always has focused on is style. And the Mac world is all about style with our digital accessories. And so, the gearheads can get into the performance tests, but at a certain point, enough is enough. You can do art on a Mac, and sure, you can do it faster on a PC, but you might spend 3 weeks of your life devirusing your PC for every hour of creativity that you get out of it.
I want to agree with Son in that I also have loved Macs for years, and what excites me about Macs and excited me about MacWorld is that there's something about a Mac that makes me want to make art. The minute I walked into MacWorld, I remember what it is I love about making music, what it is I love about making music on the computer. And I think that Steve and his team are doing a wonderful job with GarageBand and with iLife. And I'm very excited about using these new tools to see what I can make. And I'm sorry, my dear, but the PC never makes me feel that way.
I completely agree with her, which is why after 10, 12 years of not having a Mac, I bought one, and we just ordered iLife 6 and Tiger and everything, and we're going to really go for it, and I'm very impressed.
We are a happy Mac family.
And let's say one other thing about the Mac. What Apple is doing is figuring out the digital lifestyle and wrapping it all up in both the software and the hardware and seamlessly integrating it. And that's why iTunes has sold gazillion songs already, because the interface is so easy to use and it's one click. iLife and iWeb, now the new web development tool, is going to allow people to be publishers and to share their digital lifestyle with their friends. And it's changing media as we know it. And Apple is really shifting the paradigm. As far as I can see, there's not any company or any person that's uniting that in the PC platform. But in the Mac, you have all of these tools that are seamlessly integrated, which I think is pretty incredible. And OS X is, from everything that I can see, is far better than XP.
You were saying that there's this hubris that bugs you about Apple, and I would love to hear you talk about that a little bit more.
I mean, the Intel Mac ad says, oh, Intel processors, they've been doing nothing for the last 20 years. They've been in PCs, and now they're finally going to shine. Well, I'm sorry. You know, $1 trillion of investment went into the open platform of the PC, which runs Linux. It runs, you know, all kinds of Unixes. It runs Windows. It's a huge achievement. It's the open platform that the world wanted. And Apple's shifting to that open platform. That's, you know, and that's a positive thing. But for them to claim that the open platform of the PC has been somehow, you know, useless and doing boring things is just sheer wrong.
What about Windows? When you add Windows into the mix, it becomes an ugly mess.
I like this as a segue into the kinds of issues that I think we are really more interested in exploring, which is the actual philosophy underlying the difference between Big Brother sort of, you know, giving you a track to, you know, a single track to take a single bullet train in one direction to the future that is, you know, carefully managed by people who are of superior quality to guide your experience, which you could think of as the Apple paradigm. Even though they say it's all about think different, do your own thing, it's think different, do your own thing in our way, you know. So they are much more, yeah, join our church, yeah, compared to, you know, the morass of all of the crazy individuals who are willing to bite off one tiny little chunk of a non-standardized universe and chew it thoroughly and come up with their own special way of doing it that maybe doesn't get a whole, you know, unified following.
A great and classic trend in business, and IBM did this in the day when they were the hegemony, is that you wait, you let the diversity flourish, and then you as the large proprietary vendor come in and you make it your own. So IBM looked at the PC business, watched all the crazy little homebrew systems come out, and then said, okay, now we're going to make it our own, come out with, package it properly and whatever, and came out with the PC. And, you know, Apple's done that too. I mean, the Nomad was the first MP3 player was invented by Creative in 1999, right? And there was a lot of different players, but Apple, when they said, okay, we're entering the game, it's like IBM entering the game. They're really going to trounce everybody because they know what they're doing and they have the clout to do it right.
Are the little guys going to find a way to huddle together and survive the dinosaurs sort of like, you know, swallowing themselves out of existence?
A healthy industry when you have truly open platforms and hackability, and you have some giants that come in and conquer areas that are now markets, because the little hackers who invent the devices don't have the power to make them into the finely crafted, integrated, as Wolf was saying, systems. They just don't have the power, but they'll invent them. Others will take them away. Hopefully, and this is where, you know, Apple has not had a very good record. When Apple takes innovations from other people, what they took from Xerox PARC and whatnot, they claim it as their own. They claim they invented it. And that's been since, you know, day one that I've seen that. And the DigiBarn project is partly there to actually show and allow people to tell the story of how the inventions really happen, not the way a corporation wants you to think that they happen. And so the hubris of Apple does extend to the fact that in the future they will really claim that they invented the music player when they didn't. And they took it on and they made it into a market, which was great, but it wasn't inventing it.
So hopefully the future would be one of innovation, integration, and also giving credit where credit is due.
Well, certainly no one has a claim on innovation, and a lot of these companies take innovative products and solutions from smaller companies and gobble them up. What I would like to see is that there is a equal playing field as much as possible, along with the resources of the large corporations to develop the markets, because there is a mishmash of things out there right now, and it's helpful to be merging towards the similar platforms to where you don't have these incompatibility issues, but let's innovate and integrate at the same time.
This has been Future Peak.